Guess who's back? And back again. It's your brother, man, from the motherland, representing that ROD, coming to you guys live and direct, better than any other can. How you guys doing today, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you located? How are you feeling? I know. Listen, I'm feeling blessed. I'm alive, no stress. Dealing with the everyday nonsense that's going on here in New York City, but overall, I can't complain. I'm alive. That's what matters. Another opportunity to get right. So that's a round of applause for that. Shout out to all those that have been supporting, those that's just now tuning in, those that been tuning in, and, even for those that one day will tune in. You know what I'm saying? Without you guys' support, without your push, without your, tuning in, I don't know. I probably would have been doing something else. But, speaking to the people, being the voice for the people, that's something that, I take complete honor in. I gotta make sure I represent my people accordingly. Because obviously the people that's supposed to be representing us isn't representing us right. And if they are representing us right, they ain't representing us to get closer to Christ. Ooh, you like that? I like it too. But on today's episode, man, I want to talk about something that, people don't talk about. And if they do talk about it, sometimes it's very brief, and sometimes it's not even as in-depth as it should be. And I don't think I'm going to be in-depth because a topic like this is definitely a topic of discussion amongst more individuals, more than just myself. I'm just going to give you guys how I feel about it. And, my perspective and how I feel things need to be done, what needs to be done. And maybe somebody else got something better to say, got better advice, got an in-depth understanding, as we grow, as the platform grows, the audience grow, we want to be able to sit down with the doctors and the psychologists and anybody that has experience on a matter like this topic right here. And the topic is called Trauma Leads to Drama. That's word of Momma. Word. That's exactly how I titled it. Trauma Leads to Drama. That's word of Momma. And the reason why I say that is I'm starting to realize, and even myself, we suffer from a lot of things in life, man. Like being a colored man on a wicked land is very, very hard to not have situations, man. Like we got situations all across the board. You gotta deal with the oppression. You gotta deal with the aggression. You gotta deal with our family being manipulated, mistreated, from hospitals, work, school, anywhere you could imagine. We as a people go through it. It's like a everyday battle, man. And these is part of the curses, but at the same time, even though it's part of the curses based on what was told in the Bible, Deuteronomy chapter 28, is at the point now where it's a discussion that needs to be had amongst each other. And when I say each other, amongst people of color. This is some of you guys call it mental health. I don't call it mental health because I know all illness can be healed, and I also know all sickness is not the sickness that's being told by scientists and the medical field and the doctors and the psychologists. We all know, for those that's unbiblically sounded, we all know that mental illness is spirits that dwell inside the individual that overtakes that individual. But that's neither here nor there. That's for a whole topic in itself. But the trauma that leads to drama, that's word Momma. It's something that we deal with. And when you look at what's going on now in today's times, whether it's the whole COVID nonsense or even the mistreatment of people, or the mistreatment that's taking place upon people by the police officers, workforce. There's a lot of things that cause trauma in our lives where it's becoming overwhelming. People is literally feeling like giving up because, being raised in the hood, we was always told, you gotta just deal with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like our trauma, we express our traumas through anger, aggression, fighting, yelling, screaming, separation, dividance, keeping a small circle, or just not trusting people. Like all of these things stems from some type of trauma, and a lot of times our trauma, like I said earlier, is based on the oppression, is literally having to make something out of nothing. And some people is able to get it done better than others, and other people got to go through the trenches, and these trenches come with things, man. We get it. We get hit the hardest because it's like dang, like I gotta go through this. Like you see a window opportunity, but yet you see all the glass on the floor, and it's like you ain't got no slippers. You gotta go through that, and each time you catch a cut, it creates some type of trauma. Now you scared to get cut again. Some people embrace the cut. Some people take that cut and take it out on others and make others feel the pain that they feel. Others create a mechanism. Others try to meditate and go around it and endure it, and it's hard. Trust me, man. I know it's hard. I deal with trauma situations myself, man. You know what I'm saying? Like being raised in the hood, seeing things, being in funerals, seeing close friends get shot, seeing family members die, and having to step up to become something that you unprepared for. That's traumatizing, man. You know what I'm saying? And we as people, we just got a lot of trauma, whether it's in relationships. A lot of us, especially women, a lot of us develop traumatizing situations coming from relationships. A lot of times, women come from previous relationships, abusive relationship, whether it's mentally, physically. The trauma that we deal with is just too much. We come out of relationships and, we end up going through those type of, wicked relationships where it creates a mechanism and a force field. People get traumatized from work. People get traumatized from family members. People get traumatized by, close friends, being heartbroken causes trauma. Being in a relationship, devoting yourself into this relationship, and then being heartbroken behind it creates some type of trauma. We tend to act like, like we get over it. It is what it is, but it really not, and we really don't get over it because we go into the next situation with guards up. We go into the next situations with concerns. We go into the next situation like, everything is cool, but as soon as I see something that triggers, that trigger, I call it the TT, trigger trauma. Oh no, I'm off this. That's word of Momma. You know what I'm saying? And it's messed up because, like I said previously, we was told you gotta just eat that. You gotta deal with that. And I'm a firm believer of keeping your situations in house. Our problem is that, we don't seek don't seek God, and we don't pray, and we don't do the necessary things to overcome it. We tend to hold it in, or we'll seek knowledge and information from outsiders. Some people that ain't never been in traumatizing situations, and let them give us suggestions and their opinions on how we should operate with these manners. Like me, I don't believe in going to a psychologist for help, because 9 out of 10 times the psychologist will probably be a Caucasian, a Edomite, or a Khazar. These individuals, we can't relate because you don't go through what we go through. We got something called post-traumatic slave syndrome, where just being a part of that alone creates trauma in itself. And it's bad enough. We every February, we're being remembered. Like, oh yeah, you remember when we did this to you? And watching movies, like the other day I was watching Harriet Tubman, just watching it and just seeing how wicked these people are. And when just looking over it, which that causes, I wouldn't say it causes trauma to the point where I'm ready to be on my Nat Turner type of time, but it gives you that looking at the other nations with the side eye. Like, yeah, you really want to know how I'm doing? You really care for my feelings? You really care for what's going on in my life? You understand what I'm saying? But like I said, the trauma is real amongst our people. And granted, there's a lot of people, outside of colored people that deals with their trauma. And because of that, a lot of people take drugs. Like, we try to find outlets to suppress the pain, suppress the trauma, suppress the situations and the things that we have to deal with. People turn to alcohol. People turn into smoking weed. People turn into taking heavy drugs. People turn into doing things as fornicating and prostitution and sleeping around. Like, that's the way to cope with the pain. You understand what I'm saying? And it all depends on the certain type of trauma. A lot of time women that been molested or been raped, they end up having hatred towards the opposite sex, where they don't trust men. It's always a cap, or they don't have it in them to be committed, or they can't see themselves being stuck with somebody. You understand? Because of those traumatizing situations. Trauma comes with experience. The things that you go through is what creates the how can I say this? These trauma situations is what creates this force field that we as individuals have to walk with for the rest of our lives. We have to. We can't just be like, yeah, man, it was something in the past. I got over it. Have you really gotten over it? Have you really? Can you go back into that innocent stage? You remember before the trauma? Can you revert back to that? If you can't, then you ain't get over it. And in all reality, we can't get over it. We can't. Some people get traumatized by hearing the person's name, the person that did the act to the person. You could hear that person's name or hear his voice, and people will freak out. Some people will freak out. Some people still can't get the thoughts out their mind, or the vision out their mind. I remember when my pops died. Listen, I couldn't sleep by myself. I kid you not. I couldn't sleep by myself for a good, I say like 2 months. Every time I closed my eyes, first I would see my pops in the casket, then I would see myself in it. You know what I'm saying? And it was vivid. It's like I could actually see it. Praise the Most High. As I got older, I overcame it, but that alone created anger in me. I was angry. If you ask my mom's and you could check like my school years from third grade, because my pops died when I was in third grade. From third grade, you know what I'm saying, I was a good student, etc. You know what I'm saying? Pops died. And by the time I was in fourth grade, from fourth grade all the way until I graduated high school, I had like a rebellious spirit. I was just angry. I was just mad. I was mad at the world. I was mad at my moms. I was mad at my pops. I was even mad at God. Facts. You know what I'm saying? It took a lot for me to overcome it. Like I finally like shed a tear 10 years later. I was 18 years old when I finally cried. And I mean cried. Because when I was young, you know, I come from a household where, like I said, we don't do the crying over spilled milk. If you can't fix it, if it can't be fixed, it can't be spoken of. You know, and I'm sure it's like that in a lot of colored households. If it can't be fixed, it's nothing to be spoken of. You know what I'm saying? If the situation can't get handled, it's like, okay, so what are we talking about it for? You want me to feel bad too? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, life goes on. And it's sad, but that's just how I was brought up. You understand? And when I finally shed a tear and I finally like let it loose, like all that anger, I feel like all that anger came out of me. And then I just became more subtle. You know what I'm saying? I was still on G time, you know what I'm saying? You know, you create this persona, you gotta stand on that. You know what I'm saying? I was still on that, but I was less to be more engaged unless I was put in a position where I had to be engaged and I had to get myself situated. Like, word, we taking it there? All right, cool. Where, you know, before me shedding tears, I was the aggressor all the time. I wasn't trying to hear none of that. Like, however you want to do it, we can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna wait for you to pop off. I'm gonna do it first. But, you know, like I said, after 18, shedding tears, I became more subtle. After my son was born, I definitely became more subtle. I fell back from a lot of things. I started focusing more on being a parent than being a gangster, if that makes sense, you know? And I had to just let go of that traumatizing situation, you understand? But a lot of people don't have that strength, you know? A lot of people don't have that power, you know, that God placed upon me to overcome it. You understand? A lot of people still to this day, still traumatized. I know people that's parents been gone for years and they still haven't gotten over it. You know? I got a friend, you know, that, I know her fan base. You know, she said because ever since her mom's died, she can't sleep. You know, that's a traumatizing situation. Like, it's hard to overcome these things, man. It's hard, but, you know, there's always solutions. But I'm going to tell you, the solution comes with the fasting, come with the prayer, come with the acceptance and understanding that, you know, you're alive. That's mercy in itself. People go through the same thing you go through and don't come out of that. You know, people be in the same thing that you go through and become animals, predators, killers, murderers. You know, these are all traits of traumatized individuals. And a lot of times we tend to forget that. Yes, we all go through it. Everybody come out of it different. But at the same time, like I said, there's always a solution. That solution comes with, like, fasting, praying, meditating, try confronting the person, whether you was say you was raped, you gotta confront that individual. You gotta confront them. You gotta let it all out. You gotta let it out. You know, you gotta pray on it. You gotta speak to God and let God work His magic. You The scripture says you reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. You was a wicked person, you're going to get treated wicked. You did something bad to somebody, the same thing that you've done is going to take place to something. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you love, maybe it's your child. Something is going to take place where you're going to receive the nonsense that you have done. And it never fails, ever. God is a million, a trillion and oh. You do something, just best believe it's going to come your way. But on the real, we gotta stand strong behind this. We gotta stand strong. We gotta know that these are spirits that ends up dwelling inside of us. And I know the traumatized, the trauma is severe and it's hard to overcome it. But we gotta speak to one another, and we gotta have like a code of conduct where somebody opens up to you and tell you something personal. You don't use that or use what they said against that person. Tell somebody their business. I should be comfortable to tell you something without you, throwing it back at me, no matter the circumstances. I was always told that, don't use somebody's low point to use against somebody. And sometimes, maybe how I just be saying it be seem like I be throwing it out there. Like I'll say something like, I knew somebody and their parents died, and they will tend to just be out the mouth and say X, Y, and Z, and I'll have to be like, but at the same time, like you had the same type of opportunities that I had. In fact, you had yours better. Now, because I choose to do something with my opportunity where you choose to be laid back and chill, that has nothing to do with me. That's something to do with you. You understand what I'm saying? And no, I'm not gonna use your traumatizing situation against you. Like, I would never have a dispute with somebody and be like, well, that's why you got raped, or that's why you got, like, I don't do things like that. That's OD. I had things like that done to me, but I don't get mad. You know why I don't get mad? Because I'm at a point in my time in my life where, like I said, when I turned 18 years old, I let all that go. And even before that, like, speaking about my father or saying anything slick, I used to be very agitated and irate. Like, I was ready to fight. I was ready to kill. Yeah, it was bad like that for me. It was bad, but praise the Most High, I overcame that. Now I use my life experiences as knowledge and wisdom to help the next one coming up. Because there's gonna be somebody that's in my shoes. There's gonna be some young man that's gonna have to be raised without his father because his father is dead or in jail. Which causes trauma as well. The lack of a parent being in your life causes trauma. So there's a lot of things that goes on within our community, within our people, that's just overwhelming. But a lot of it stems from the post-traumatic slave syndrome, man, or PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome. I did a report on that. Maybe one day I'll bring that out, be on the podcast and elaborate on what that is and what's the cause and what kind of effects it has on us, and it still affect on us. And one of the major effects that it has on us is the fear of other nations. And what I mean by that is, we quick to fight each other. Oh my jeez. Let another person of color just be disrespectful. You ready to go in his mouth, you ready to throw your hands, you ready to do X, Y, and Z. But when it comes to Caucasian, and let a police officer or white police officer say something to you, it be 10 times more disrespectful. We tend to hold our peace. We be like, yo, son, yo, how you talking to me like that? We'll do all of that, but we don't keep that same energy the way that we keep it amongst our own. It's sad, but it's the truth. That's part of the PTSS. You know what I'm saying? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. But yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about that. Definitely. That'll be a good discussion to have on the next broadcast. But it's real, man. It's a real situation. Trauma leads to drama. Word of mama. That trauma it makes you vulnerable. It makes you have anger. Makes you the lack of trust. And it always falls down to a situation. Relationships is ruined because of trauma. Facts. And sometimes it's not even the partner's doing. Just it'll be something little as, the daughter never got a relationship with her mother. The son was molested by a close family friend, and now because of that he operates on demon time and don't trust nobody and take his frustration out on women and don't like women or don't like men. It's a lot of things that goes on. These are the things that goes on in the hood, but it's kept in disclosure because a lot of individuals don't wanna be seen as a victim. Somebody told me this. I don't like being seen as a victim, but in all reality, you are a victim. You get what I'm saying? You are a victim, and if you don't accept you being a victim, you ain't never gonna overcome it. You are a victim. You've been wounded. It comes with the territory. We in a battle, but you got wounded. Your objective is to heal and to protect yourself from not getting wounded or becoming a victim of that same situation. Paying attention to the signs, X, Y, and Z, but also giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. You can't use past trauma as a result to viewing everybody the same, because everybody's not the same. God didn't create every man to be the same. We don't look the same, we don't talk the same, we don't walk the same, we don't act the same. Everybody got their own identity. You got your own DNA. Your own image, your own traits. Yeah, we got certain mannerisms as men and women, but we all different. So never categorize an individual because of something that you've been through or because of how that person look, how that person dress. So you can't do that. And even for me, I try hard not to go into relationships, whether it's a relationship with a woman, your shorty, somebody you talking to, you dealing with, want to build with, or just relationships with friends. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm the type of person, I'll let your actions justify who you are. I'm not gonna let my past traumatizing situations put a hedge over an individual. Now, once you do what you do and your colors is shown, then I have the obligation to put a hedge or put a protection or force field to protect myself from you or whatever that comes along with you or whatever comes along with life. Period. But we always got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. That's not my job to do that. God didn't create me to be looking at people with a side eye. God created me to love my brother like I love myself. I don't look at myself with a side eye. I can't look at my people with a side eye. But what I can do is I'm going to pay attention to the signs, though. And then when the sign shows itself, then that's when I create whatever I create in protection of me, my loved ones, and anything that's around me, period. You understand? But yeah, that's basically it as far as the trauma leading to the drama. Word of mama. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta just do right, man. Loving and caring, forgiveness, praying, fasting, reading the Bible, confronting the problem. We gotta confront it. We can't just be like, oh, I'm over it. No, we gotta confront it. Whether it's the perpetrator, whether it's the job, the boss, whoever, you gotta confront it. You gotta let it out. You keep things concealed, listen, things are gonna get super real. You see what it rhymes, because it's meant to go together. But yeah, this is your boy Junes, man. You know what I represent, man. It's that ROD. Like, follow the movement, man. Support it. Check the website out, repentanddiepodcast.net. YouTube, Repent or Die Podcast. All the podcast platforms. IG, Facebook. Just type in Repent or Die Podcast, man. You know what I'm saying? And just join this movement. This is the voice for the voiceless, man. This is for the people. This ain't for me. This is for the people, because nothing on this world is equal, and it's time for us to get our equal shit. You heard? So I'm gonna holler at y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. I'm gonna upload this. This will be up later on tonight or tomorrow afternoon. But I'm gonna holler at y'all. One.